apart. She couldn't wait another day for the captain of the heart. As the day came up, she made a start. She stopped waiting another day for the captain of the heart. Too long ago, too long apart, she couldn't wait another day for the captain of the heart.
Good evening, Emmitsburg. It is currently 9:03 on April 28th, 2025, and you're listening to 89.9 WMTB Emmitsburg, Highland Mountain, low on the dial. I'm your host, MC Leviathan, otherwise known as Antonio Luna, and you're listening to Desperation Radio. It is currently 68 degrees outside with mostly clear skies up here in lovely Emmitsburg. And today is a very, very bittersweet occasion, my fellow Desperation Radio listeners, for two reasons. One, it is the 81st anniversary of Exercise Tiger, which was a World War II maneuver that prepared for the Normandy invasions, which ended tragically in a friendly fire incident that my great-grandfather participated in. But it is also tragic because tonight is the very last traditional Desperation Radio show. We are going to have one more show on May 5th from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. However, this is the very last show that'll just be 1 hour long, and it's been quite a ride, so we're going to make the best of it. We're going to play a few classics and then get right into the requested topic because, again, Desperation Radio is run by the people, for the people. And you all have requested, and I have listened. So tonight, as is Desperation Radio tradition, will be Kevin McLeod night. But we're going to start off, as we do with many of our old Desperation Radio shows, by playing Clay Step 1000, which, for those of you who don't know, was the very first song created, specifically to be played on Desperation Radio. So, let's get into Clay Step 1000, which was created by the DJ Gangsta Hustle, the one and only OG hustler who wanna tussle ya, claiming the Mind Freak.
up if you with it.
And that was Clay Step 1000, made by the DJ Gangsta Hustle, the one and OG hustler who want to tussle ya, claiming the Mind Freak. Thanks again for Clay Step for making that absolutely lovely Desperation Radio song. Without further ado, we're going to get straight into the Kevin MacLeod soundtrack, or one of his albums, specifically the Disco Ultra Lounge album, which was released in 2014. Many of you may know his music through the Minecraft parody videos on YouTube that utilize many of his musical samples throughout the years, specifically It's Jer and Harry, Pink Sheep, and Exploding TNT, which is affiliated with Pink Sheep. So we hope here at Desperation Radio that you're taken back down memory lane. So we're going to start off with song Airport Lounge, again from the Disco Ultra Lounge album. And the song that just played was Airport Lounge by... Pardon me for a second. Was Airport Lounge by Kevin MacLeod from the Disco Ultra Lounge album. It's currently 9:15, so let's get straight into your favorite PSAs.
You're walking alone. A group of people is hanging out just ahead. Suddenly, they surround you.
Hey, yo, where you going? Come here.
Before you know it, you're being robbed. It's called a pack robbery. A robbery involving a group of assailants, and it can be violent. In times like these, trust your instincts. Don't become their next victim. Avoid suspicious groups. Avoid desolate or poorly lighted areas. Be aware of your surroundings. To learn more about pack robberies, visit ncpc.org or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
From the WMTB local nonprofit file, Habitat for Humanity is an ecumenical Christian housing ministry that invites people of all backgrounds, races, and religions to build houses in partnership with families in need. Habitat seeks to eliminate homelessness from the world and to make decent shelter a matter of conscience and action. At Frederick Habitat, one way they impact affordable housing is through their home ownership program. For more information, please call 301-698-2449. That number again is 301-698-2449. All right, let's get back into the Disco Ultra Lounge album by Kevin MacLeod. And our next song up on the list is Aura Carmina. And the songs that just played in order were Aura, Carmina, Avant Jazz, Babylon, and Chill, all from the Disco Ultra Lounge album by Kevin MacLeod. It is currently 9:30. You know what that means? It means you are listening to 89.9 WMTB Emmitsburg. High on the mountain, low on the dial. I'm your host, MC Leviathan, otherwise known as Antonio Luna, and you're listening to Desperation Radio. Quick Mount activity update for those of you who are in the English department. This coming Tuesday, so not this immediate Tuesday, so next week, May 6th, there will be an outing to the Appalachian for drinks and overall having a good time to close out the semester, and especially to celebrate our graduating seniors, such as myself, who will be leaving this campus in approximately 12 days. 12 days, folks. It's been quite a journey, but it's all very bittersweet. But all good things must come to an end, so why not party before they do? But all coming sob stories aside, we're going to get back into the Kevin MacLeod album. Trust me, I will talk about my personal experience with Desperation Radio and the radio station in general, either at the end of this show today or at the one at the end of next week, or at the beginning of next week, I should say. So trust me, you'll get a personal statement from me at some point. But in the meantime, enjoy some more songs by Kevin MacLeod from the Disco Ultra Lounge album. And the songs, in just plain order, were as follows: Cool Blast, Daybreak, Disco Con Tutti, Disco Lounge, and Ether Disco, along with George Street Shuffle, all from the Disco Ultra Lounge album by Kevin MacLeod. It's currently 9:51, so we're a little over time, but let's get straight into your favorite PSAs.
What would happen if you didn't follow the established path? Would you feel scared or proud? Could you explain that helping the people of Peru improve their own community would also have an effect on your own? Would you rather make your own way or spend a lifetime saying, what if? Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps. To find out more, call 1-800-424-8580 or go to peacecorps.gov.
From the WMTB local nonprofit file, Seton Center provides various services to poor and low-income households in northern Frederick County, such as a thrift shop to purchase high-quality items at a low price, volunteer opportunities, emergency short-term assistance with utilities, food, or clothing, information and referrals, and rental needs. For more information, please call 301-447-6102 or visit their website at setoncenterинc.org. All right, let's go back into the Disco Ultra Lounge album by Kevin MacLeod with the next song, Cool Cats. And the songs just played in order were as follows: Local Forecast, Elevator, and Mining by Moonlight, both by Kevin MacLeod from the Disco Ultra Lounge album. It's currently 10:02. That means you're listening to 89.9 WMTB Emmitsburg. High on the mountain, low on the dial. I'm your host, MC Leviathan, otherwise known as Antonio Luna, and you're listening to Desperation Radio. It's currently 61 degrees outside with clear skies up here in lovely Emmitsburg, and we're entering into our last and final hour of the last traditional Desperation Radio show. I want to make some quick comments before we get into the second half of the show. For those of you who have been sticking around since the beginning of Desperation Radio, you will know that the actual show itself was founded on August 15th, 2021, which was the day that the U.S. pulled out of Afghanistan, coincidentally enough, when I emailed the wonderful Dr. Gray if I could do a podcast. And unfortunately, the podcast idea never fell through, but the second best solution, which was, of course, a request-based show, was approved, and I got started getting trained on the radio quite literally about a week or two later. And it's been just uphill from there, or I guess downhill, depending on whether you see uphill is a good thing or downhill is a good thing. But either way, it got much better from there. And it's been quite a joy being on air for so many years. From the Metal Gear Rising Revengeance night back my freshman year, so February 2022, to Baldy posting all throughout sophomore year, including Chopper Man radio show and Monster High Girl radio show. Shout out to y'all. I know y'all are listening in. And just all the great stuff that's happened my junior year, especially. In 2023 and 2024, we got reached out by a bunch of local Maryland bands, including All You Need, Electric Circus, Audio Lounge, Delaplane, Miss Moon, whatever this is. It has been quite literally the best adventure of my life. I would not still be in college if it weren't for Desperation Radio. This show has quite literally kept me sane for all of these years. And it's a little sad that it's going to be closing. But, like I said before, all good things must come to an end. And I know everybody listening in out there right now, or at least those of you who are in the Desperation Radio Discord, will remember all the good times that the show had. Especially all the times that we recited the pack robbery PSA, among various other jokes and traditions, including Clay Step 1000, Rock Ghosts, again, Baldy posting, Callus posting, among many, many other great times that we've had, either requesting music, talking with others about music that y'all requested, crafting playlists for everybody to kind of listen in on their own. It's just been quite a year. I'm so proud of everybody. Thank you again to everybody in the Desperation Radio crowd. Thank you to all who are currently in the Desperation Radio Discord server. Y'all are quite literally the engine that runs Desperation Radio. It is quite an honor to be the head of such a great radio show that has such great requesters and music producers and, encouragers. So thanks again to everybody. And I'm trying to think of any other last comments that I have, because my goodness, it has been such a great time. It is very, very bittersweet. And I wish I had more prepared out, but I know y'all are listening in. And again, this is not the last show. This is the last traditional show. So we're going to end at 11 o'clock today, but we're going to be doing a 4-hour show again next week, May 5th, from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. So I want y'all to hopefully tune in for that, because that's when we're going through everything that we've that you have requested all throughout these years. So it'll be a very, very special moment for everybody involved. But yeah, I hope you all enjoy the remainder of tonight's show. We're going to continue through the Disco Ultra Lounge album by Kevin MacLeod. We'll try and get to another album, or at least start it tonight, and then we'll probably finish it next week, along with many, many other songs and possible interviews. Shameless plug right there for possible interview. Not live on air, pre-recorded. But yeah, get hyped up. We are so excited for these last few Desperation Radio hours. I was going to say shows, but there's only one more show left. But enough of me yapping. Let's get back into the Disco Ultra Lounge album. And again, this next song is going to be called Moon Lounge Omicron Prime. Shout out to the local Maryland band Miss Moon. But let's get into it. And the songs I just played in order were as follows: Moon Lounge, Omicron Prime, and Overcast, both from the Disco Ultra Lounge album by Kevin MacLeod. It's currently 10:16, so let's get straight into your favorite PSAs.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
From the WMTB local nonprofit file, the Mental Health Association of Sam Frederick County is a leader in creating services that respond to the changing needs in our community and is a place where people can be heard and receive support. Their mission is to build a strong foundation of emotional wellness through education, empowerment, advocacy, and treatment for children, adults, and families. For more information, please call the Mental Health Association of Frederick County at 301-663-0011. That number again is 301-663-0011. All right, let's get back into the last few songs of the Disco Ultra Lounge album by Kevin MacLeod. The next song up being called Smoother Move. And the songs that just played in order were Smoother Move, Soporific, String Disco, Vegas Glitz, and Who Likes the Party, all from the Disco Ultra Lounge album by Kevin MacLeod. It is currently 10:31. You know what that means? It means you are listening to 89.9 WMTB Emmitsburg. High on the mountain, low on the dial. I'm your host, MC Leviathan, and you're listening to Desperation Radio. Quick Mount activity update. Move Out starts May 8th and runs until May 10th for all of you seniors out there. Of course, May 10th is graduation, so get all your ducks in a row and start packing up your stuff now because it'll be here before you know it. And reminder to drop off your keys to Res Life afterwards, and you will be good to go. But with that, we have finished the Disco Ultra Lounge album by Kevin MacLeod, and we're going to move on to the Polka 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 album, which was released in the same year, I believe on the same day. But without further ado, let's get straight into the first couple of songs, starting off with the song Double Polka. And the songs just plain order were as follows: Double Polka, Dvorak Polka, Four Beers Polka, Glee Club Polka, and Manic Polka. All from the Polka 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 album by Kevin MacLeod. It's currently 10:48, so let's get straight into your favorite PSAs.
Your triceps are only as tough as your mind is. Your legs are only as tough as your mind is. Your abs are only as tough as your mind is. Your chest is only as tough as your mind is. Your heart is only as tough as, well, you get it. Enter the world of the U.S. Navy SEALs. Can you rise to the challenge of completing SEAL-inspired missions? Register to see if you can at SEALBrotherhood.com.
From the WMTB Public Service File, Volunteer Fire and Rescue of Frederick County is a department consisting of both volunteers and career professionals associated with 25 private fire and rescue organizations. Becoming a volunteer for a fire and rescue team means you will be protecting people's lives, their property, and the environment. The program offers anyone 16 years or older the chance to learn training procedures and responsibilities that will greatly help local communities. For more information, please call 540-722-8358. That number again is 540-722-8358. All right, let's get into the last 10 minutes of the Polka 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 album by Kevin MacLeod. We're going to cut it off a little early in order to play Clay Step 1.4. And the songs that just played in order were as follows: No Spam Polka and Pixel Peeker Polka, both from the Polka 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 album by Kevin MacLeod. It's currently 10:57, and we are going to wrap up the very final traditional Desperation Radio show with Clay Step 1.4 WMTB 89.9 FM. Again, made by the DJ Gangsta Hustle, the OG Hustler who want to tussle ya, claiming the Mind Freak. So thank you again to everybody listening into Desperation Radio these 4 years. And we'll do a final sign-off right after this song.
Throw your hands up if you with it.
And that was Claysep 1.4 WMTB 89.9 FM, made by the one and only DJ Gangsta Hustle, the OG hustler who want to tussle ya, claiming the Mind Freak. It is currently 11 p.m. on April 28th, 2025, and this has been 89.9 WMTB Emmitsburg. High on the mountain, low on the dial. I've been your host for the past 4 years, MC Leviathan, otherwise known as Antonio Luna, representing Maryland, all the local Maryland bands who have reached out to me, as well as the Desperation Radio Discord. And this has been the last traditional show of Desperation Radio. Thank you to everybody who's been tuned in for all these years. Thank you to everybody who's been joining in along the past couple of years. Thank you to everybody who've just tuned in tonight and have heard the wonderful songs by Kevin MacLeod. And, well, this is it, folks. So, have a wonderful rest of your night. For those of you who are seniors, keep up the good work. Finals week is just ahead. And we graduate May 10th. So thanks again, everybody. This is MC Leviathan signing off for the second to last time, but the last time again, traditionally. So remember, have a good night. You lost the game, and keep on keeping on.